everyone, and welcome to another edition of Shooting the Breeze. As usual, I am your friendly neighborhood soda, and as always, joined by Big Fudge Ben Rayner. How you doing, my dude?
I'm doing good. I can't wait to talk about this. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Me, myself as well. And joining us is one of our favorite people in this space, none other than 50 Shades of Marvel himself. How you doing,
everybody.
man?
I'm doing great. I got all my Marvel stuff, all my very, very expensive Marvel gear out in the open to compensate for the fact that I just noticed I'm wearing a Batman shirt.
Well, if the 50s picture there doesn't give it away, we're going to be tier ranking the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we will be going through all of the movies, and we will be doing the Disney Plus shows. Unfortunately, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I believe Agent Carter are both considered non-canon now, so they are not included in the list.
Yeah, and the same goes for the Netflix stuff. And
exactly.
The Runaways, Cloak and Dagger. Great stuff, obviously, but...
Yeah, pretty much anything that's pre-Disney Plus is.
I knew have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
I only seen Jessica Jones season 1 and a few episodes of Daredevil season 1. I was never the biggest fan of any of the Netflix shows.
I watched season 1 of Daredevil and a couple episodes of Jessica Jones, and that was it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the only one on this table who watched all of them, and I will say there are more good than bad. On like the Daredevil one, for example, flawless in my opinion. There's not a single bad episode among maybe one or two, but some of the other ones, some of them drag on a bit. They a lot of them have good endings, but very middle sections.
I really
go. Sorry, go.
I did want to say about Jessica Jones. Part of the reason I never continued on to season 2 was because David Tennant as Kilgrave killed it, and I don't think anybody else could top him as a main villain in that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked him for the couple episodes I saw. It's just I don't know what it was about those Netflix shows. They just didn't draw me in. I just wasn't interested.
And they were probably so different from the movies we're about to talk right now. Yeah. Maybe that's. I mean, this is always kind of made me laugh. But in my old job, I had a really good friend, and she always used to say that she could never really get into any of the Marvel shows because they were way too dark for her taste. And on the opposite end, the DC CW shows were always so fun and light and campy. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, it's actually the exact opposite of what people at the time used to say about the movies.
It's true. They both have swapped tones, it seems.
And for disclosure, I have never really been a fan of the character himself of Daredevil. There's something about him that I can't buy into, and I don't know what it is.
Oddly enough, I kind of fell in love with the character of Daredevil from the video game Marvel's Ultimate Alliance without even having to play him. Just hearing his backstory really made me fall into the character, but buy into the character. Maybe that's why
that is for sure. Especially when you know it's kind of associated with the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. That helps.
Yeah, just a little bit. All right, well, you know what? Let's just hop right into it then. So give me one moment. I'll bring up the tier.
Full disclosure, I'm taking a page out of Ben's book. This is actually, oops, too late for that. This, or rather, the show we did last week of Let's Talk About Star Wars, well, that was my first ever tier list. I don't even know how these things work, to be honest. I never even tried one. That was my first. This one is actually my second, and
they're actually pretty easy. There's just a tier website out there. You go in, you upload your photos, and that's
I know, but just I never really thought about it.
Oh,
The
okay.
whole tier ranking. I'm not. It's strange that we do a top 5 show together because I'm not really that good at top 5, top 10s, or whatever. I usually just have a number 1, 2, and maybe sometimes 3, and then the rest just fall into place. With the MCU in particular, I have at number 1, period, end of sentence. I have bottom 3, and the rest are, floating around in some wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff to carry over from a conversation we were having off screen.
Yeah, no, I'm similar to you actually. Like I've got my concrete top 5 movies of all time, and after that, everything just falls kind of into place, sort of thing. Same with anything. I'm just not into the type of person who ranks things. Like for example, spoilers for when we do our own MCU rankings, the Disney Plus shows are at the bottom because I don't like to rank things after only seeing them one time.
This is really good enough to tell our audience before we start ranking. There's another heads up.
No. I'm gonna actually do this subjectively. Like I'm gonna be obviously doing it subjectively, but I mean for me personally, that's not how I do things. But let's just hop right into it then. We're gonna start off with 2000.
About the order of things. It's not order of release. It's not alphabetical.
No, what I had set it up in here, adds it, and then when I brought the screen back up today, it just automatically put it back in alphabetical order. However, on the side here in the overlays, I do have everything in theatrical release, which is how we're going to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first off, we're going to go with the one that launched it all, 2008's Iron Man.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, besides the fact that it's the one that started it all, it's a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
On top of being the granddaddy of all MCU. And just the idea that they were able to do that good of a job to not only make a good movie first, put the universe second, but also usher in the universe itself, on top of the fact that they basically started filming with no script attached.
Yeah,
definitely proof you can do that. Just don't do that for every movie, obviously. But
no, of course, this movie
it's an impressive feat in and of itself. I think it deserves either an S tier or an A tier. Ben, how about you?
Yeah, Ben.
I
know how this works now.
Yeah.
I like the movie a lot. I would not put it S. I think it's a great movie. I have all due respect to it. I didn't think there are much better movies in this catalog than this movie. But I do like it. It's fun to rewatch. I love all the performances, so A tier for me.
Yeah, I'll have to go with A tier as well because pretty much everything that Ben said, it is the one that started it all. It does still hold up, but you're right. There are other movies that have come since that are better than it. So I would probably put it in a low A.
Yeah, I agree. And on top of the holding up thing, I easily Robert Downey Jr. looks the most different in this movie and all the other ones. I don't know. But maybe it's the hair. Maybe it's because he's just so young in this movie, comparatively, that it's kind of weird for me to see him. And I don't get that feeling in any of the other movies he's appeared in.
Interesting.
I think it's a hair. I think he had different hair in this one.
Oh, yeah, he definitely does have different hair.
Yeah.
And also, my opinion, I think this movie had the best score out of all 3 Iron Man movies. Not the best soundtrack, but the best score, in my opinion. Especially when Tony goes out for his first flight.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And you would expect nothing less from the guy who did the score for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no kidding. And I found that out. I almost shit kittens.
Kittens. Never thought I'd hear that.
You've never? Oh, yeah. I guess that's not a saying you probably would have heard over on your end of the world.
Have you ever? Have any of you guys ever? This is a weird tangent, but have you ever heard of ASDF movies?
No.
No.
I'll send it to you later. It's just some 2D black and white animated random nonsense that's actually really funny. It's a collection of random sketches that somehow flow together. One of the weird sketches is a guy coming up to another guy and saying, quick, don't think about cats. And he just started puking kittens out of his mouth.
Okay, then.
Because, when someone tells you to not think about something,
You do
the
it.
first thing your mind does is immediately think about that something.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of kittens, we have the second movie in the MCU, The Incredible Hulk.
Underrated movie. Underrated movie. I love this movie.
Yeah, definitely underrated.
It is? I would put it in C, though.
Really?
Yes, because while it is underrated, it still isn't one of the better ones in the MCU, unless I too personally like it.
See, I think whenever I rewatch this movie, and whenever I do that, I always it's part of a rewatch that I'm doing for all the movies, because why the hell not?
Mm-hmm.
It's always that one movie that whenever I watch it, I'm suddenly reminded of how much I love this movie, and then as soon as I move on, it just gets kind of forgotten in the background, because it's one of those movies that you love it when you watch it, but it doesn't stick with you. And part of the reason for that is because obviously they changed up the actor, they changed up how the Hulk itself looks like to fit the new actor. A lot of elements from that movie were kind of pushed to the wayside up until William Hurt came back in Civil War. But even then, he doesn't really acknowledge this movie too much in Civil War. But we are probably I hope people are right about this. I hope that really is Abomination in the Shang-Chi trailer, because
I heard it is. I heard it is.
Yeah.
I really hope so. I mean, I thought it was the real Quicksilver when that happened, and I don't want to get my hopes up too much. So yeah.
I would say C. I'll go with C too.
Yeah.
I'd say C as well, but the highest of C's.
Yeah, I
Really
agree that the highest of C's, because it is underrated, but it also is the one that sticks out in a way, because outside of William Hurt appearing later, nothing is ever mentioned of this movie ever again.
Other than, like we said, hopefully Blonsky shows up again.
So, okay, so following that, we had the sequel to Iron Man 2. When I did a rewatch last year, I found myself enjoying this. I think it is also it gets too much crap, I think.
Yeah.
I agree. I really like this movie. I mean, to be honest, I'm one of those people that I don't understand what's with all the hate for the movie.
Me neither.
Yeah. I like Sam Rockwell. He's great in it. I like. The only actor that I'm not crazy about is everyone's issue, Mickey Rourke. And he,
sometimes it feels like he's in a different movie.
Yeah. And halfway through, I didn't want to tell him, fine, we're giving you good. Just leave that damn movie already.
Where's my Boyd?
I want my board.
So for me, this would actually also fall in the C tier. It's good, but not great.
Oh, you know what? I would say D for me, personally.
What about you, 50?
I mean, I'd put it at C, but
how about low C? Low C.
Okay,
low C.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hey. No, there it is. Low C. Okay, next we have the theatrical debut of The Mighty Thor, directed by
Not the theatrical release debut of this.
Yes. This movie, when I saw it, I seemed to be the only one who loved it in my circle. I think this movie is one of the better of one of the best of the early years.
Yes, me too, and underrated. The Loki storyline scares me every time I watch it. They handled that so good. Actually, I think the weakest part of this, in my opinion, kind of for himself at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like how he was acting, but I understood it was necessary. And I might be the only one who says this, I kind of bought into him and Shane. And then,
Will Thor: Love and Thunder change that, do you think?
I want to see him again, so hopefully not. I'm not into it. I want to see more of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said you didn't buy into it. Sorry.
No, I in the minority. I did buy into it.
Yeah, I was fine with him as well.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind it. You know, earlier when I said that I have my number 1 and my bottom 3.
Yeah.
This one's actually in my bottom 3.
Really?
I'm sorry to say that. It's just, I don't know. It just for a movie about the mythological god of thunder, feels a little bland, and a lot of it kind of comes from the fact that you have this larger than life character in both comics and Norse mythology, and you just throw him into a random tiny town in the middle of freaking nowhere for 2 hours. And he's just aimlessly wandering around there. Great moments in the movie, obviously, like the whole another.
Yeah.
And when he walks into the pet shop and he's like, I need a horse. So yeah, but that just kind of comes from Chris Hemsworth being the natural comedian that he is. But for the most part, I don't know. This movie never really clicked with me. It's one of the, again, just like with Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, that is not English Hulk. Just like with the Incredible Hulk, it's one of those movies that I like it when I see it, but as I move on, it really falls into the back end of MCU movies to me, further back than the Incredible Hulk, and for me. So
yeah, like for me as well, it's in the lower third of the ranking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, me too. Compared to
So,
everything else,
what do you want to say?
So, like I said, it's in my bottom 3, but I wouldn't put it at D. I would say C.
So
you guys probably would go with B. Am I correct?
We both just said C.
here's the thing. 50, you're right about everything about that movie. But I think it did something that we can't overlook. It introduced everyone to Loki. And because of this movie...
I thought you were going to say Hawkeye, but never mind.
That too, yeah.
That's just how my mind goes at 4 in the morning.
Probably one of the few who actually like freaked out when that moment happened in theaters.
I can't remember who exactly. Somebody told me that was after the fact attachment to the movie.
Might have been.
That's how we shoot.
I'm going to be honest, I completely missed the Hawkeye introduction first time I saw it, because at that time I wasn't quite familiar with the Hawkeye character. I was like, I mean, I knew who Captain America was. I knew all about the Thor. I knew all about this and that. Hawkeye wasn't really a character I was super familiar with. So I don't even remember the scene that introduced him when I first watched the movie. I only noticed it after the fact, after watching Avengers, which we'll get to. Basically.
So next in line, we have one that was actually for a long time in my upper echelon, Captain America, the First Avenger. I adore this movie. I really, really do. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it is the highest ranked of the original phase 1 on my list.
Same here. This was my favorite for a very long time.
Yeah.
This is my number 1 for a very long time.
I love this movie. I'm right there with you. So I'll say B tier. Even A tier. Yeah, A tier.
Yeah, I go A as well.
I'm willing to put it at A tier.
Yeah. No, a lot of people.
I would say S, but since I'm not doing this alone, obviously, I think A tier is enough.
Yeah, I agree, and a lot of people I think give the third act flack. It's an enjoyable movie, and when he's going down in the ship and he's on the line with Peggy, like that is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
You didn't want to see him have that last chance.
Yeah, which we got, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will.
Actually, Matt, would it be okay for you if we just put it in A tier, but just ahead of Iron Man?
Sure.
Would you agree with that? Okay, cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I would too.
I think it really, really works as a Captain America origin story, which is the most important part. But it kind of works as an alternate World War II movie.
Yeah, it's a great period piece.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a lot of Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, there are a lot of.
Or is that the other way around, where Wonder Woman really reminds you of this movie?
Yeah.
To me, I think the first Gal Gadot Wonder Woman is one half. The first half is the first Thor movie, and the second half is the first Captain America movie. Inspiration wise, with obviously a lot of Richard Donner's Superman thrown in there for good
sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The Richard Donner Superman stuff is way more obvious.
Yeah, because DC and they get mugged in the streets and she catches a bullet.
Yeah. Okay, so next up we have the final. This was the final movie of Phase 1, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one we were all waiting for. Dun, 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 the Avengers. This has to be S tier.
S tier.
It's the other movie in my bottom 3.
What the hell? Wow.
Okay, we do tell.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get so much shit for this, but I don't care. I think this movie's really boring for a lot of it.
Oh.
Like, for the most part, yeah, you finally get all these incredible superheroes in one movie, and all you do is just stick them on the ship and have them yell at each other for 2 hours. And I didn't like the Thor and Iron Man fight in the forest. I hate that overused trope of, okay, the first time the two heroes meet, they have to fight each other and someone has to break the fight for them to team up. It's an overused trope. Now, granted, first time this happens, I believe, in the MCU on a grand scale like this. But I don't know. A lot of this movie just really falls flat to me. Other than the last 30 minutes, which is incredible. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is just really dry, and the whole yelling at each other. It took me years and a lot of watching other people's YouTube videos to know that this was actually all made from the Mind Stone, because it was the Mind Stone in Loki's scepter affecting their minds, causing them to have these fights with each other. And I guess the movie didn't do quite as good of a job explaining that. To me, at least. Maybe it's my fault. I don't know. Maybe it's a problem with me. When I watched this movie for the first time, didn't watch it in the theaters. Obviously, I watched it at home. Maybe that had an effect. But when I watched it for the first time, I fell asleep twice during that movie. Now, granted, it was still my first year in military service, and that particular week I had 2 really, really major drills that week, which really cost me a lot of sleeping hours. So maybe I was just so tired I couldn't really keep up. I fell asleep, like I said, on the part with the ship when we were talking, and I even fell asleep very briefly, but I fell asleep during the battle for New York on the giant Chitauri Leviathan. And the thing that actually woke me up was Hulk punching Thor off screen.
That was great.
So, but revisiting the movie, I like it a little bit more every time I see it. The flaws really become more noticeable for me. Like Tony taking his sweet time repairing the ship, which ultimately ends up doing nothing. But a lot of the flaws of the movie really become more apparent to me. But like I said, I like it a little bit more every time I watch it. And one final rant about this movie: I'm really not a fan of all the costumes in the movie, especially the Captain America one.
I'll give you Cap.
I hate that costume. And they even make fun of it in Endgame. But I'm not a big fan of the way Thor looks. I'm not a big fan of the way Hawkeye looks. I'm not a big fan of Natasha's hair. Just a lot of the costumes for the movie didn't really work for me personally.
So how about a compromise then? How about B tier? Right in the middle.
Really, that low? I thought you were going to compromise on
a 3. Ben and I saying like S right away. How about as a compromise? You just put it right in the middle.
I'm fine with that.
But you said B.
Yeah, it is right in the middle. S A B C D.
Oh, I thought you were going to compromise on A.
No. I've compromised on B. Put it right in smack dab in the middle.
Okay, thanks. I think B works.
Yeah, because in all honesty, it is a movie I do love. But I mean, again, there are way more bad movies that are better than it. Really, S is because it is an iconic movie, and God, I want that. I want that poster
because of it. I think in any other list, it would deserve S for the accomplishment alone.
And this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, the only Marvel movie to actually have a proper soundtrack, not like a score, an actual soundtrack that was released. I have it somewhere in my bin of CDs.
Yeah.
So after that, we had the first movie of Phase 3, a movie that
Phase 2.
Yes, Phase 2. It is Iron Man 3.
It was the third movie, not
the third movie. Yeah, I think this movie gets undeserved hate. I really do.
This is my third movie and my bottom 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But I will say this. It's my least favorite MCU movie. It's not a bad movie.
No.
It's just it over promises and under delivers.
That's actually a good way of putting it. Yeah. I did like a lot of things in this movie, though. I'm one of the few who seems to didn't mind the Mandarin twist.
Yeah,
I hated it for the first time. The more and more I heard people explain why it was a good idea, the more I kind of got swayed for it. But there was also this growing argument to why maybe the Mandarin was a good choice to stick with the original comic book origins, because I have no idea how they're going to do the Mandarin in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, but in the comics, the Mandarin gets his powers from alien technology, which is exactly the thing that causes Tony's PTSD in the movie. So why wouldn't you go with that direction?
I don't know. I liked it because it was different, and I know it's not the comic books. I look at these as Elseworld versions, so it made me laugh in theaters. I thought it was genius.
Okay.
And I'm like it, but I don't know. There's something about it. Like maybe because from it, I wanted to see that menacing Mandarin from the trailers, and the fact we didn't get that pissed me off.
So where do you guys want to
put it? I'll say this. I hated it when I first saw it, and I convinced myself it was a good movie because it's Marvel. It's gotta be good, right? But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of hated it. But as time went on, I got really, really soft on that movie. And even the Mandarin reveal. Now, obviously, Ben Kingsley does a great job as fake Mandarin.
Yeah,
and they kind of
switch to Trevor Slattery.
Yeah, and they hinted at the existence of the real Mandarin in the Marvel one-shots. We're going to get the real Mandarin Shang-Chi. So yeah, my opinion has definitely changed on the movie. It's definitely a great Tony Stark, James Bond movie. It's not a great Iron Man movie.
Well, that's the other thing. We got more Tony Stark than we did Iron Man in this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But it just shows you. It shows you because, I mean, I have this friend, great friend, but he's got really asinine opinions on sometimes, especially on superhero movies. He's like, oh yeah, Batman's not really cool. He doesn't have any powers. You can't be a superhero if you don't have any powers. He takes the piss out of people. Like he says, oh, Gamora's not special. She's not special. She doesn't have any powers. Doctor Strange isn't special. He doesn't have power. Anyone could be a wizard. Anyone can learn magic. So yeah, and this movie really shows you how wrong he is because Tony Stark, you take away his suit, he's still making weapons out of gloves or whatever. I can't remember what he did in the movie, but yeah, he's making weapons out of Christmas ornaments.
You know, there's one aspect we forgot to bring up during Iron Man 2 talk. What do you think of the way they handled the transformation between Terrence Howard to Don?
Fine. Why would you even acknowledge it?
Yeah, I mean, even Don Cheadle is like, yeah, it's me. Deal with it. Yeah. He openly says that in the movie.
Yeah, and I love that. I wish more movies and shows would take that importance to it.
Now people are still complaining about how are you going to explain that this actor is now played by a different actor. They never did that when Dumbledore was recast.
No.
They never did it in any of the Bond films. No one batted an eye when Mark Ruffalo was playing the new Hulk. I thought it was weird for a minute. I was like, well, who is this guy? But I mean, it's a thing that happens. That's how movies work.
I mean,
we're going to get that
Bond
again.
does it. Bond does it.
Yeah, and we're going to get that again in the Wizarding world with Grindelwald being recast with Mads Mikkelsen. So yeah, why would you even acknowledge the changing of an actor?
Yeah.
Which again, I know I'm going to die on this hill if I have to. I think it's a smart idea to recast Chadwick as Black Panther. I think it's a smart idea to keep the character as it is, honor the legacy of Chadwick. But at this point, I think the character is bigger than the actor. But we'll probably talk more about that once we get to Black Panther itself.
Yeah, I'll just say with that though, I'll be happy with whatever they decide to do.
Yeah, I don't envy Disney and I don't envy Kevin Feige because there's not an option where nobody gets upset.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get upset with anything.
That's the advantage of being a giant mega corporation like Disney. You're going to piss somebody off.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they did with this movie.
So Iron Man 3, where are we going to put it?
Let's see.
See, the thing is with the MCU, like I said, I don't think there's a bad movie in this franchise. So why do we even have a D tier to begin with?
It's there.
I mean, if any movie would be a D, it would probably be this one.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Put it in there. And 50, you're right. If we have a D category, then put it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't believe Iron Man.
If something has to be a D, I'd say it's this one.
Okay, another movie that could potentially be in D tier, a movie that, while boring, is not bad at all. Thor: The Dark World.
D, but elements that I love in this movie. What happened?
What? I love this movie, and I didn't want to be here when you guys rip it to shreds.
I'm not going to rip it to shreds because I do like it. I just think it is one of the weaker MCU movies.
See, I mentioned earlier that Captain America: The First Avenger was my favorite for a very long time.
Yeah.
This was actually my second favorite for a very long time.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I love this movie. I don't know what it is about it. I just do. I loved it.
Really,
maybe it kind of has something to do with the fact that Thor is actually on Asgard for most of the movie and the other 9 realms. But I don't know. I really liked it, and maybe also it was the first MCU movie I saw in theaters. By the way.
Oh, okay.
Not only that, it was the first movie I've seen in theaters in a very long time. First movie I saw in a new theater that just opened up in my city. Theater's gone now, by the way. It just went to hell for a very long time. Became just abandoned for about a year before COVID happened, and COVID really just put the final nail in the coffin.
That sucks.
But this movie, being the first one I saw at that theater, kind of ended up with a really weird story. It was the first time me and my mom went to that new theater, and new theater, you don't exactly know where all the exits are. You don't know what's supposed to leave the theater when you come out of it. We ended up walking through this very long, empty hallway that really kind of reminded us of that abandoned place in the movie, where the children were hiding out.
Oh,
and
wow.
with all the weird floating stuff and the interdimensional stuff. And we were just walking this long, empty hallway with no end in sight, nothing behind us, nothing in front of us. Then one of the trash cans apparently moved on its own. So we just started making a run for it to the end of the hallway. We finally found our way back to the entrance of the theater. But yeah, that was a pretty interesting experience. Maybe it affected my viewing of the movie, but
Maybe.
I
don't know. And then after the movie came out, a lot of people just ripped it apart, and I started to maybe buy into the hate. But then I rewatched the movie a couple of times after that and was like, no, I still love this movie. So I don't know what to tell you. I just love the movie. Sue me.
Nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just for me personally, I think it's one of the weaker. But think about this though: a weak movie in the MCU is a great movie in any other franchise.
Yeah, that like we just said with Iron Man 3, there isn't a bad movie in this franchise.
So where should we put it then?
Come on my head and put it in B or C.
I'd say B.
B, really?
Because of the story 50 told.
Yeah. And 50, that would only happen to you.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
So here it is. Where is the
low B?
Low B. Yeah, I'll give it low B.
And so it's kind of interesting for me personally, considering everything I just said on the show, to see the Avengers and Thor: The Dark World in the same tier. But I'm guessing there are more surprises to come with this list.
Well, this next one is not a surprise. This one, for me personally, for a long time, was my favorite MCU movie. When they announced it, I shit my bricks because I just finished reading the book. Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
A.
S.
Okay.
I'd say A, but I'm willing to compromise on S.
Yeah, this movie. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a great movie. It's amazing. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. I love it. Not as much as most people do, but that's okay. I mean, every movie speaks to everyone differently. It's like I said, it's a great movie. Better than half the movies in the MCU. I don't love it as much as other people do. It's definitely, in my opinion, the Captain America trilogy for a long time was comparable to the Toy Story trilogy before the fourth one came out. I was like, I loved the first one. The third one kind of sometimes switches places with my first, and I definitely think the second one is the weakest of the three, but it's still an incredible movie nonetheless. So that's how I always viewed the Captain America movies and the Toy Story movies before the fourth one came out. So, and now they're talking about Captain America 4 all of a sudden. So who knows how that's going to end up.
Ben, what about you?
Same as 50. I love that movie. Maybe a tad, but not as much as everyone else, but it's a fantastic movie. Love the introduction to Sam. Love Bucky. Love this movie. And for me.
Yeah, like I said, for a long time, this was my favorite MCU film. Everything about it, the espionage, the scenes with Natasha and Steve, just the writing, the direction, just everything about it was just for me amazing. It's a great political spy thriller. And Robert Redford as the villain, like how often do you see that? I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And with a name like Captain America: The Winter Soldier, you would assume, as a comic book fan, that going into the movie, you think you know the twist.
Yeah.
And you think you have that one leg up on the rest of the audience. Nope, because there's another twist in the movie which you don't see coming.
Yeah, and this also another reason this deserves to be an S. This is the movie that changed everything for the MCU.
Yeah.
Once that twist happened, which you know what, it's been long enough. Spoilers. It's been 7 years. When it's revealed that Shield was Hydra all along, that changed the landscape of everything in the MCU. It even changed how Agents of Shield was going at that time when it was still considered part of canon.
How would you
Hydra all along.
Yeah, it was a great.
how would you feel if you were the executive producers of that show and you see this movie happen? How would you feel? Because I'm sure that's not what they had planned. But
And they were like, oh, shit.
You don't think they didn't have that planned? At that time, I think they were still pretty intricate. I think they were still working together. They knew.
But I think maybe during the writing process, they had a completely different direction for the last few episodes of the season. And during production, someone just said, hey, you know what? We're kind of flipping the script on its head. Shield has been Hydra all along. It was like,
yeah,
I gotta erase a few things.
Yeah, and honestly, that is, I think, probably more likely what happened. Even this movie made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. better with everything that happened afterwards.
not much.
Yeah,
But,
don't disagree.
Yeah, so
And retrospectively, it kind of changed the Agent Carter universe, even though the show itself hadn't started yet at that point.
Yeah, that is true.
So we're going with S. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So next up, we have when it was announced the most unknown property in the MCU, and it turned out to be one of its biggest hits, not just in terms of how great the movie was, but in terms of its soundtrack, Guardians of the Galaxy. Wow.
You're sitting yourself a bit. You know,
we're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Love this movie. I hate it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, you wouldn't, and that again, that's another thing you don't see coming. Like, this little movie, which didn't really have too much promise behind it. It was like completely unknown characters, not just unknown characters, the most obscure you would have heard of at the time, like a talking raccoon in a tree that only says its name, like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
So, like, you wouldn't think this movie would be one of the best movies in the MCU, and it is.
And you had like the surprise of Drax, Dave Bautista, who up at that point had only been really known as a professional wrestler, hadn't done that much acting, knocked it out of the park and made him a mega star in the acting world. Chris Pratt's leading role debut. At that time he was Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec. Everyone's like, really, that guy? And then look, he knocks it out of the park.
And what a great year for the guy. He had this and the Lego movie at the same time.
And Jurassic World.
That was 2015.
Still around the same time.
I'm going to say this. I love this movie as a team, not the magic villain.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think the movie's good enough to
the movie
justify an S tier, not villain notwithstanding.
I agree.
And let's not forget the soundtrack. Holy shit, that soundtrack is phenomenal. It introduced a whole new generation to the like classics of 70s rock. It is a great soundtrack.
Okay.
That is, I'd say, a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because again, I'm referencing that friend I have. He's one of those guys that he's very in the moment, like he's very what's mainstream right now. So like, this movie's popular, I only care about this movie, I only like this movie now, everything else sucks. Then another movie becomes popular and he's like, I'm all about this and everything else sucks, everything before that doesn't matter. So that, yeah, he's one of those people who just, he never would have given a rat's ass about any of the songs in this movie if they weren't in the movie.
Your friend sounds like a putz.
He's a very good friend, but yeah. But
okay,
I mean, and he never would have given a rat's ass about any of Bohemian Rhapsody, the song, before they put it in Suicide Squad.
Ah, man,
like he couldn't care less about that song, and now that's basically all he listens to. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, real quick, guys. Favorite song from this movie? soda.
There's two. Come and Get Your Love and Fooled Around and Fell in Love.
50.
I think I gotta go Hooked on a Feeling.
Oh yeah.
That's probably the one I've listened to the most before the movie came out. Before the trailer came out, because it was in the trailer. That's one of the movies I loved more growing up. Because my mom used to listen to all the songs from this movie before when I was still young, growing up in the apartment I live in now. So yeah, that was the one that we heard most during my time as a child. So probably Hooked on a Feeling.
What about you, Ben?
Child, everything's going to get better.
Really?
Ooh,
Good job.
child.
It's a good song.
I
There's
love
not a
that
bad song on the soundtrack at all.
Yeah. The same can be said for the sequel.
And I love how they use that song in Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
That's how cool. Me and you.
Oh no, for me, man, it's the best scene involving music is the opener with Come and Get Your Love, because if you're going into it, you're like, what's gonna happen? All of a sudden you hear the beat and you see Chris Pratt grab that lizard and just start lip syncing, and you're like, okay, I know where this movie's going.
To me, that scene when he gets better the second time when he gets better the second time it was huge.
Yes, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Okay, so following the Guardians of the Galaxy, we had the return of the Avengers in Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, the trailer for this was one of the best trailers I've ever seen, with the very slow No Strings on Me.
The Pinocchio stuff.
The Pinocchio song, yeah. The movie, while not bad, is for me the weaker of the Avengers movies.
This movie replaced Thor: The Dark World as my second favorite, and it was in contention to replacing Captain America: The Winter Soldier as my favorite.
Really?
Like 2015, 2016 was the time when my top two movies of the MCU were starting to change up, like with every new movie that came out. So I love this movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I do enjoy it. It's just when you compare it to the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, like it's unfortunately for me the bottom of those four.
I think it might actually be my second favorite Avengers movie.
Really?
We'll get to the other ones soon enough, but it might be my second favorite.
I can't wait to hear your all-time list. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it either, because, like I said, I have my number one and my bottom three, and the rest are kind of floating around somewhere in there.
I'm actually comfortable with putting this in B tier as well.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah, because it seems we all like it, but two of us think it's a little bit lesser than the other. So I think B is a good spot for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just like its brother.
Yeah, exactly. So following up, we have the only MCU movie that I have the theatrical one sheet framed for, Ant-Man.
I love this movie. I love this movie. Fantastic comedy. Favorite origin story. I love this movie. A.
Yeah. A for Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I do think Age of Ultron is a better movie. My favorite of this one, of the ones that came out in 2015, but I'm fine putting this in A in Age of Ultron in B.
This movie,
no complaints out of me.
And I want to say that,
yeah.
And real quick, Matt, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And that's my favorite MCU sidekick, the Louise. I love this character.
Yes. The whole crew is good.
But Louise is on another level. Come on.
Of course. Especially when he's telling the stories. Yeah. No, the jokes in this movie, and I think personally that Yellow Jacket gets too much flack as a villain.
And let me say this. I'll show you guys after. I think I showed you before, Matt. This has one of my favorite t-shirt trailers. So
yes, you said it to me last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they had the teaser trailer in mini form.
No, this is I'll show it to you later.
Weird hand dance thing. So we're all in agreement. A.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, quick question to you, Ben. Who do you think tells a story better, Louise or Olaf from Frozen 2?
Ooh.
Well, I haven't seen Frozen 2,
Ah.
but I haven't seen Louise.
Okay.
Okay, so next up, we have what is arguably the most hyped at that time MCU movie, Captain America Civil War.
MCU solo movie, I think. Most hype MCU solo movie.
Yeah, and most hyped MCU solo movie, for sure. I'm going to go S on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Most of the time, I usually watch the movies in when I'm doing them in a rewatch, but this is one of the ones where I'll just pop in for the hell of it.
Yeah.
You get the introduction of Black Panther. You get the introduction of Spider-Man into the MCU. You get the great airport fight scene, and then you get an even more emotionally charged and just as good three-way fight scene between Bucky, Cap, and Iron Man at the end.
When they literally made the scene from the cover of the Civil War comics into live action movie, like you assume they're going to do that, but you never expect it. Just like the Giant Man stuff. This
movie, I'd argue, has some of the highest emotional stakes in an MCU movie.
Partnered up with some of the best action in the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say anything. This is in my top 5.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Same thing. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, there's really not much more we can say about this. Like, this is generally regarded as one of the top MCU films of all time.
And this movie, one I think I would not hear MCU.
Yes,
the golden standard to me.
Yeah, as much as like the Avengers, like when we had that shot of everybody gathering together, like, oh, that's so comic. Like, this was a true comic book. It brought to life, and it brought to life the tone of the actual Civil War comic book. Like, there really were stakes.
And again, I hate to do this, but it seems like I'm doing this whole tier list with that friend of mine in the back of my mind. Can we just please stop calling this movie Avengers 2.5? Like, it's not an Avengers movie. Could you? It's a Captain America movie that just happens to have a lot of the Avengers characters. As a matter of fact, this movie has more Avengers characters in it than the previous 2 Avengers movies. But it's still a Captain America movie and to its core. It's not an Avengers movie. So just stop it.
Look at that poster, man. I would give my left testicle to have that in my apartment.
Me too. And okay, I'm going to also say this. And that's my favorite standing cameo.
Are you Tony Stank?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
It's probably Don Cheadle's favorite Stanley cameo also.
Yeah.
And it's a nice name change, by the way.
Yeah, oh, thank you, 50.
Okay, so next up we have the MCU diving into the world of the mystical. Doctor Strange. This movie is a beautifully made movie.
I enjoy the hell out of this movie. I'm going to say high A.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is one of my favorite Marvel characters, movie or otherwise. So I was understandably excited, but also nervous to see how they're going to bring the complicated world of Doctor Strange into the movie universe. And I think they did a wonderful job, and they still barely scratched the surface with the first movie, which is what is the most exciting part about Multiverse of Madness for me. Because if you put the word multiverse in the title, you better deliver on the multiverse aspect. And that's one thing that Marvel always does to perfection. They deliver.
That's
except for Iron Man 3, which we talked about before.
I cannot wait for the second Doctor Strange to come out.
Yeah. Considering we got the smallest of tastes from it in the brief scene when she sends him through across all the multiverses,
Yeah.
and at the end where we get to see a little bit of the dark dimension. Great snippet into the wonderfully creative world of the Steve Ditko, but there's still so much more to explore in that dimension. So,
and I can't wait to see who Bruce Campbell plays. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
who?
Bruce Campbell. You know, Sam
Oh,
Raimi
yeah.
Is he in the movie?
Well, whenever Sam Raimi directs a movie, he puts Bruce Campbell in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, because he did that with the other 3 Spider-Man movies. He's done it with Darkman. He did it with Drag Me to Hell, I believe. He's done it with all of his movies.
Was he also in? He didn't direct The Walk, didn't he? What was Sam Raimi? No, that was Zemeckis, I think. What other?
He did Oz, Great and Powerful.
Yeah,
Oz, Great and Powerful. Was he there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, hey, we're not getting Stan Lee back, but at least we're getting Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. The next best thing.
Since this is the multiverse and Doctor Strange was created by Steve Ditko, who also co-created Spider-Man, are we going to see Bruce Campbell as what he was originally intended to be in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, which is Mysterio?
We could.
I like that. I've been thinking more like an Uncle Ben, but I like that.
I could see that. That would be kind of a cool nod and a wink to the fans.
Especially since we haven't gotten
Wait,
Uncle Ben
is Sam
yet.
Raimi also... No, Sam Raimi's not directing the third Spider-Man movie. That's John Watts. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, so next up we have
wait, did you put it on the board? It's still
Dr. Strange. Oh, sorry, I did not. We had agreed A. Yes.
Yeah. A.
Sorry. So next up we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I think it's like 1, 2.
Yeah, it's definitely a step down from the first one. When I saw it in the theater for the first time, I instantly thought it was better than the first one. Got back home, slept on it, and when I woke up, this is crazy to me. The first thing that went through my mind when I woke up the next day was, yeah, that movie wasn't as great as the first one, but it's still great. That's the first thing I thought of waking up. That's just how my mind works. But yeah, like I said, it's a great movie, but it's definitely a step down from the first one.
Yeah, and I personally think the soundtrack for this is weaker as well.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Great songs, but weaker.
I don't remember the songs.
That's why it's weaker. You don't remember the songs.
The only thing I
Hey
remember
there,
is
Mr. Blue. It's a place to be.
Oh yeah, okay, Mr. Blue. And then there is one that I personally remember is because it's played over the Yondu funeral scene, which is Father and Son by Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Years ago, when I was still in high school, I had a really, really shitty day, really just trashy day. And my mom picked me up from school that day, and she went out shopping, and she left me in the car when she went shopping because I just didn't feel like going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to be around people at that time. And then that song came up on the radio, and it really changed. Not only it made my day better, it just slightly changed how I saw the world, and it made me cry. And I remembered all of that watching the movie for the first time. I cried during the Yondu scene. When I a week or so later, I took my mom to see the movie because I always take my mom to see the Marvel movies in theaters. And we were both sitting there crying, listening to that song. It's a beautiful song.
It is.
It's definitely the standout of the soundtrack. If Ben, you were going to ask me the favorite song from that soundtrack, this would definitely be the favorite one. So yeah,
mine as well.
That scene alone, one of the best scenes in funeral scenes in movies history.
Amen.
My number one funeral scene in any superhero property, including Smallville, including television, including everything. My favorite funeral scene in a superhero property. That scene is the reason why I thought originally that it was better than the first one, but that scene doesn't save the rest of the movie for me.
I wouldn't exactly argue against you on that 50 for the funeral scene, because really the movie is Yondu's story. As much as it is Star-Lord trying to figure out who his father is, it's really Yondu's story, and the fact that he was really Star-Lord's father. And yeah, that whole I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, yo. Right. And the fact that it happens minutes before he dies.
Yeah.
That and such a great line from Yondu. He may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy.
I was your daddy. So what do you say, boy? Oh, sorry.
I have to ask you real quick. How did you know going in that if you continued, how big of a flip was it to see Stallone in the MCU for you?
I knew he was in there, but even then, it's Stallone. To see him in one of the best franchises of all time, it's awesome, especially as one of the original Guardians. Like, come on, that was like, yeah. I love Stallone now is going to be in these type of movies. Like, he's going to be in the Suicide Squad. That makes me happy.
He is.
He's King Shark.
Really? I didn't know that.
Ben, you told me.
Yeah, and voices in the movie. I don't know if
it's not him motion capturing, but he's voicing King Shark. Yeah.
That's Stallone.
Yeah.
Wow. Matt, you're gonna be very proud of me.
Yes.
I made a Rocky reference I made a Rocky joke at work today.
Right on.
Because for those of you who don't know, I kind of work at this online supermarket thing. Like I do the packing for supermarket products that are then delivered to customers. I was doing like picking for eggs for customers who ordered eggs online. This is the same person, the same order. Someone ordered 3 boxes of eggs. Like, I don't know.
Cartons?
Yeah, cartons. Sorry. 5 in the morning. So yeah, these 5 egg cartons were like the 12 eggs in 2 rows.
Egg cartons, yeah.
Yeah, and the egg carton. Someone ordered 3 of these. And I was like, dude, who ordered this? Rocky Balboa?
Yeah. Nice.
I don't think the guy who was there with me understood the joke, but I was like, well, I'm gonna tell this to Soda tonight, and he's gonna be very proud of me.
I am very proud of you, 50. I'm very, very proud of you.
Yeah,
I put it in there.
It doesn't feel right to put it in the same tier as the first one.
No, but it is equally as good. And also we did.
And also, I would put this thing on the same level as a Doctor Strange or an Ant-Man, even though I like those movies better.
We forgot to talk about the villain though, Kurt Russell as Ego, the Living Planet.
Speaking of which, can you bring up the poster again one more time?
Of course. Where is there? It is.
I can't believe that this is the first time I've noticed this. The background right behind them is Ego.
Oh shit! I didn't notice that.
Right behind them.
I didn't realize that either.
Huh.
Yeah, I just noticed it for the first time.
Right.
It was great seeing that one shot of when Rocket, Yondu, Groot, and what's James Gunn's brother's name?
Oh fuck! I forgot what the character's name is.
But yeah, it was great seeing the 4 of them fly towards the planet, and you get the shot of Ego looking the way he does in the comics.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool shot.
Because when you hear Ego, the Living Planet, is going to be in a live-action movie, how are people going to react to the fact that this character is a living, breathing, sentient, talking planet?
Yeah.
How do you bring that to screen?
Yeah, how do you reconcile that?
They did a great job.
No, they did do a great job. And yeah, I think Kurt Russell on this was phenomenal.
Especially with the character that started out as a joke in a Thor comic years ago. And then I guess someone loved the joke so much that he brought it back.
And James Gunn, or actually Marvel, specifically traded the rights to Negasonic Teenage Warhead to be able to use Ego, the Living Planet, in this movie. Because James Gunn wanted it. Yeah,
I don't remember, but I think they didn't traded the rights to the character I think they traded the rights to use the powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that character is an X-Men character, but the powers. I don't know. Can you imagine being in that courtroom when the deal was being made
God,
with the Marvel lawyers and the Fox lawyers talking to each other?
Yeah.
Okay.
Origins of the merger.
What is next, boys?
A really good origin movie, and oh god, one of the best villains in the MCU, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
S.
Yeah, my S for Spider-Man. My
Agreed.
favorite Spider-Man movie.
Mine too. 50-50.
It's not mine, but it's up there.
A little more, yeah.
No, this is a great movie. To me, Tom Holland is Spider-Man. Never was a fan of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield did a decent job. It's Tom Holland all the way as Peter
Yeah,
Parker.
my argument to that was always Tobey Maguire was a good Peter Parker, wasn't a very good Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man, wasn't a very good Peter Parker. Tom Holland just embodies both aspects of the character, and all you need to know that isn't even to watch the movie; it's to watch the 3 scenes he had in Civil War.
Mm.
You get a great scene as him in Peter Parker in the apartment. You get a great scene with him as Spider-Man in the airport, and you get a great scene at the end where he's basically being both at the same time with a post-credit scene. And this movie is just 2.5 hours of it. Go ahead.
And I will say this: best Spider-Man villain on live action for me.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd agreed. Yeah, especially the reveal of that.
Oh my god! I remember in the video.
Yeah, when he opens the door and he's Liz's dad, and it was like,
yeah, my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah. Okay. This movie has my favorite, one of my top 5 scenes in the MCU.
Is it the car scene?
The car scene.
Yeah.
The car scene.
How frightened were you of Michael Keaton?
Michael fucking Keaton. I'll be frightened of him whenever. He's the reason I am looking forward to the Flash movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you got Batman and Spider-Man in a car together, and Batman is threatening Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it all kind of goes back to like an argument I had with a friend in the army, where we kind of had a poll. We went all over the base asking people who's gonna win, Batman or Spider-Man. I chose the Spider-Man. He thought Batman was gonna win. I asked like 100 people. It was pretty much an let's say 70-30 split in favor of Spider-Man.
Oh wow.
So I'm now asking you guys, what do you think?
I'd say Batman because like going into a thing, assuming that they would have knowledge of each other, Batman has a way to take down everybody. And he thinks that quickly on the fly. Plus, he will go to a place that Spider-Man is not willing to go.
True.
And Batman will do homework before the fight, and he will get prepared.
But let's put that element aside. Let's go no homework before the fight, no prior knowledge of each other. I think Spider-Man takes this.
I think he would.
It's hard to be the guy that can see danger coming.
Yeah, with the element of surprise, yeah, I think he would.
Yeah, because he has powers. And I'm not saying Batman isn't cool with no powers, but put Batman up against Superman with powers. And as a sneak attack, Batman loses. Sorry, he does.
Okay, so next we had a real surprise of a movie. Thor Ragnarok. Oh my god. Hands down the best of the Thor trilogy, and when as soon as that happened, we were in a whole new ball game, man. This movie is hilarious.
Yeah, it's the reason we're now getting a 4th Thor movie.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it.
It was hard for any Thor movie, no matter how good it might have been, to overtake Thor: The Dark World as my favorite. But I mean, eventually, this movie did it.
Yeah.
The one knock I have against this movie,
What's that?
I don't like how they handled the Warriors 3.
Yeah, I actually agree
Yeah.
with you on that.
And like, really?
Yeah, but I mean, Zachary Levi had to go be Shazam in another studio, so they kind of had to take him out of the picture pretty fast.
Well, that happened in the previous one.
No.
Oh, he died in this movie.
No, I thought you were talking about changing the actor. Yeah, they all died in this movie.
No, he was supposed to be in the first one, couldn't make it, so it was Josh Dallas in the first one. He was there for the second.
Right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of pointless. They should have just left him off world or something.
At least.
At least. Oh shit! What's the third guy? I keep forgetting his name, and he got the most screen time in this movie. But at least the third one actually did something.
No, Fandral is the one.
Fandral was the Zachary Levi character. Volstagg is the Ray Stevenson character, which got me a point in my Inner Geekdom match against Colin. Just saying, but I can never remember the third guy.
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
The one with the mace, not Mace Windu, but
Hogan.
What?
Hogan.
Yeah, Hogan. Yeah. Which is weird because Hulk is in this movie, and now Chris Hemsworth is playing Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that's great. Now, this movie is such a delight. This was the first MCU movie my little nieces gravitated towards. Like, this was all they watched for a long time. It's so great. S tier.
Yeah, definitely S tier.
Agreed.
S tier for Shazam, because that's what Thor does on the Rainbow Bridge in that scene.
Of course, Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster.
I saw a really funny meme today. Hold on.
Okay, real quick. Let's not forget the brilliant introduction of one of the brilliant side characters of the MCU.
Korg.
I mean,
yeah, played by the director of the movie, Taika Waititi.
My name is Korg. My favorite scene with him.
Box, as you can see, you have nothing to fear unless you're made of scissors.
My favorite scene with him is at the very end, when they do the establishing shot and he's holding up. Oh shit! What's the other guy's name? That's friend there. Meek. He's holding Meek. Is like, oh, Meek. He died a long time ago. And Meek starts moving. Oh look, he's alive.
Oh, Meek's alive. Look, Meek's alive. So you're saying?
Oh, I cannot. Thor, Love and Thunder. If it's the same tone as this, it's knocking out of the park.
It was great to see them again in Endgame.
Yeah,
very briefly. Where is that meme that I found today? It was a great Jeff Goldblum meme. If you want to move on, you can do it while I look for it.
Okay. Next up, we had at one point the highest grossing MCU movie ever made. One of the biggest biggest movies ever made. One of the most culturally important movies ever made. Black Panther.
And also, let's not forget the closest that the MCU has ever gotten to the Lion King. So yeah, S tier. It should get S tier alone for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. S tier. It is a great movie. Killmonger, one of the best MCU villains. Just the whole story, how he relates to the real world. It's one of those movies that you will remember.
This is one of the movies that I wish Soul was here with us doing this ranking, because she'd have a lot of things to say about this.
She would. And this is one of those movies that will live on long after we're gone.
Yeah, and long after the actor.
Yeah. Wakanda forever.
Yeah,
Wakanda forever. Can't wait for that. Speaking of which.
Yeah, so for that, I'm going to put it right at the very front of the S tier for now.
Yeah.
There we go. I should get rid of this first. There we go.
Do we wanna address the Panther that's in the room?
If you would like to, go ahead.
I mean, like I said, I think they should recast T'Challa. I think Black Panther is such an important character culturally that just killing him off and giving the role to another character, it just wouldn't feel right to me. And I'm saying this as a white guy, not just a white guy, not even American. So like, I think there's so much good could come from continuing the legacy of T'Challa, and obviously we're not throwing Chadwick's work under the rug. We're just getting someone to take, just like the Olympics, to take the torch and run with it towards the finish line.
Well,
I think there's definitely going to be a lot of young, promising black actors who would be more than happy to take on this very important and iconic role.
You have
Especially
precedence for this
important
as well.
and iconic actor.
You have precedence for this as well. When Richard Harris passed away during the post-production of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and they had to recast that role, and it ended up being a good change. No, I'm saying I'm not saying this next guy will be better.
I think Michael Gambon is a much better Dumbledore than Richard Harris was.
I have to say this. There was casting news today about Black Panther.
Oh, go ahead.
Either today or yesterday. They might have got somebody who could potentially be the new Black Panther, and I forget her name. And somebody from a TV show.
Look it up. Look it up because I'm curious. My view on it is I'm fine with whatever the production team does, because I know that they thought long and hard on the best way to honor Chadwick Boseman, and I'm sure they even had his wife in on the talk. So I'm going to be okay with whatever direction they go with.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Now, next, we have like one of the mother loads of comic book movies. The movie that subverted expectations and had everyone leaving the theater going, holy shit, they went there. Avengers Infinity War.
That is my number one.
Okay, Randy married the lead, 50.
It's number... Anyways, it's definitely an S-tier movie. This is hands down. I'm not saying whether it is or it isn't my favorite movie, but I will say it is the best movie.
Agreed.
Like, as a movie, from start to finish, it is the best made movie.
I think there's a lot of movies based on comic books. This feels to me like the first comic book movie.
Yes, agreed.
And I never would have said that prior to watching it. This movie really changed my view of comic book movies. Like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to say it. This movie does what the Snyder Cut wanted to do.
Agreed.
And what I mean by that is don't make a movie based on a comic book. Just make a comic book movie. A movie that you watch it and you don't feel like you're watching a movie. You feel like you're watching a live action comic book. Complete with separating it into chapters, so it kind of feels like you're watching or reading issues where every issue is different from the first one, but it is a continuation. And you don't have to do stupid black screen and put chapter 1 something. You don't have to do that. This movie does that perfectly without going there. And for that, I mean, it's the greatest comic book movie of all time. I'll say it here.
I'm not
I
going
wouldn't
to
argue for it being in the conversation.
I'm not going to say that, but I love this movie. It's incredible. The fight scene in Wakanda is amazing. I love Thor's entrance. I love the fight on Titan. I love all the characters interacting with each other.
Especially characters we hadn't seen interact with each other prior to this.
Why
Yeah.
is Gamora? Is another
Yeah.
great line.
Why is Gamora?
Oh, we're using code names now. I'm Spider-Man. Yeah, there's I cannot find a flaw in this movie at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So we know where that's going.
Oh, real quick.
I was gonna say I think this should go in S tier ahead of Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, Matt, I put that name in the private chat.
I saw that. The name is Michaela Cole.
From what was the show?
That's Black Panther?
Yeah, from I May Destroy You.
Oh, okay.
I forget where that show is. But there's
And
somewhere,
help me out here. Is this a woman or
It's a woman, yes.
Huh.
and they're talking about making her the new Black Panther.
Okay, so here's why I'm asking, because it doesn't feel like they were going what I thought. I thought they were going to keep T'Challa, so
No.
it looks like they're going to go with someone else, which Disney does what they feel is best.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see someone else take someone other than T'Challa take the mantle, but I would have preferred if it was a T'Challa played by a different actor.
But remember, not confirmed. Nobody said anything. Like, this is just she was hired for the movie, so it is really just
but sometimes these rumors that show up from out of nowhere, sometimes they turn out to be true. But like I said, I'm gonna still be holding on hope that they're sticking with T'Challa.
Yeah, well, like I said, for now it's just conjecture. So next up,
if any of you are interested, I found the meme.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so you're gonna have to go out of the tier list for that. Well, okay, hold on. Are you seeing this?
Yep.
I'm just trying to do as God told me. God, when did God start caring about us? And right now the stop sharing thing is in my way, so I'm gonna hold on. Where was God when my skin fell off after I climbed into a teleporter and with a fly? Or when John Hammond created an island full of dinosaurs?
For those of you who don't know, in the movie Prince of Egypt, Jeff Goldblum voiced the Joseph, the brother of Moses.
Aaron. I don't know how you could have gotten confused. Joseph.
Because what happened was I was going to say Joseph, the father of Jesus, and then I realized halfway through this is Moses' story.
Yeah. No. Joseph was, I think he was the son of Jacob who wandered into Egypt, and that's how the people of the Hebrew people were stuck there for as long as they were.
Yeah.
And when the Hebrew people left Egypt, not in the movie, obviously, but when the Hebrew people left, they brought Joseph's body with them to be buried in
Joseph from
Canaan.
Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, correct?
Excuse me, I didn't.
Never mind. It's the same Joseph from Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, well, thank you for joining us on Bible Talk. So back to the.
He's also the reason why the Nazis dressed up the Jews with striped clothes in the Holocaust as a reference to Joseph.
Oh, did not know that.
To humiliate them even further.
And speaking of prisoners, not to actually compare the two, we have the worthy sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp, which takes place before Infinity War.
Yep.
Didn't Captain Marvel came out first?
No.
Okay, I'm getting my Marvel movies mixed up. But yeah, this movie, for a very long time, it kind of switched places between this one and the second one, which was my favorite. On some days, I would have settled on this one. On other days, I would have settled on the first one. Right now, I'm pretty much set on the first one being my favorite of the two. But this movie's still great.
Oh yeah, great moments, great banter between Ant-Man and the Wasp. We get the introduction of Goliath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, he's called Black Goliath in the comics, but it's better to go Goliath.
Yeah. No, I think it's the first one's better, but this is definitely a worthy sequel to it. Plus, we get the introduction of the original Wasp herself, Janet Van Dyne, played by the incomparable Michelle Pfeiffer.
Barely even aged a day.
Right? They added white hair onto her, and she still looks phenomenal.
Yeah. I think she's one of those actors where they actually had to age her up instead of de-age her.
Yeah.
And I love that scene in this movie where Paul Rudd has a plan here.
Yeah, I agree. Whoa, how did I get down here? So what do you guys think? I say a B?
Yeah.
Definitely a B.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, your boy Louise is back, and that wonderful scene when they have to go to Louise's place to. I forget. It's been a while. I forget what they have to go. And Michael Douglas is just no.
He really does not like them.
Yeah. Even in the first one, it was like, no, not those 3 wombats. Speaking of Suicide Squad, Davis Mulchin.
Yes.
It's like that one meme from The Office from Michael Scott.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No.
And also, this movie, one thing I'll never forget about this movie is how I lost a 5-pointer against Chris Ingle in an MCU specific match. Now, it was just training. It wasn't any official match. It was me, Chris Ingle, Ferris Muthana, and I think David Lestrina, or I can't remember the fourth guy, but it was down to me and Ingle. It wouldn't have mattered if I got the 5-pointer because he still knew his because he's Chris Ingle, but I missed the 5-pointer. What are the names of both Ava Starr's parents in the movie?
I have no idea.
Obviously, I knew her father because it's Elias Starr, who is Eggman Egghead in the comics, which I can't believe they actually put Egghead in the movie, for starters. But her mother, which is never named on screen, her name is Esther, which I'll never forget now because I lost that stupid 5-pointer.
Huh.
Okay then.
So yeah, that hurt. Oh, and you know what? We didn't even talk about the introduction of Randall Park.
That's right, Randall Park,
who's now in WandaVision.
Yes, Randall Park was a nice, refreshing addition to the MCU for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that, again, like we talked about with Infinity War just a second ago, characters meeting each other for the first time and having interactions they never had with each other. We got a side character from Thor, a side character from Ant-Man, and a side character from Captain Marvel meeting each other on screen. But we'll get to that, obviously.
Yeah, so next up we have the first female-led MCU movie, Captain Marvel. This is where I fall on this. I think it's a great movie. I think it's a bad MCU movie.
Really?
Just because of all the contradictions it gives out.
What
about past events of certain characters' lives? It feels like it rewrites some MCU history for the sake of rewriting it.
I don't see it as contradictions or rewrites, but that's just me.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it is a great movie. It's just for me and fitting into the MCU, I don't think it fits in there well.
To me, I think it's a great MCU movie, and that's it. Like, there's nothing too much to talk about it beyond it being a good MCU movie. Like, it doesn't stick with you like a lot of the movies we've talked about in this list.
I like it.
What do you think, 50?
Yeah, B. I mean, it's right down the middle, in my opinion.
I'd agree.
It's one of those Oh, I was going to make a point earlier that my favorite part of the movie is when Jude Law, right at the end there, he's like, you got to fight me, you got to beat me to prove yourself and all that. And she just blasts him and says, I have nothing to prove to you. And then but look who's talking. But yeah, I think it's one of those moments that I think it sends such a great message to women. Again, speaking is clearly not a woman. I think it sends such a great message of like, yeah, you've got nothing to prove. You know you're better. Just let the stupid man shut up and wander and fester in his own squander, to quote Darth Maul, because now Taco's in the chat. But yeah, you don't have to prove you're better than the men. You are better than men. Just stop. Women shouldn't have to struggle the way that they are, and yeah, like I said, you've got nothing to prove.
Yeah,
you're proving it by just outshining the men in your life.
No,
again, clearly not a woman, but that was my biggest takeaway from that movie.
No, this is a fun movie, and it actually probably has one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos because it pays homage to Mallrats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and also speaking of
the MCU.
Yeah, and speaking of Stan Lee, great homage to him in the intro.
That's
Marvel
right,
intro,
because this came out after he passed away.
Yeah.
And it just, and there's like a line at the bottom that says, "Thank you, Stan."
Yeah,
it was like,
agreed.
The movie hasn't even started yet, and I'm crying. Come on.
I've definitely agreed. Thank you, Stan Lee. Now, next up, we have what is arguably the granddaddy of all comic book movies, and at one point was the highest grossing movie of all time, Avengers Endgame. S. You're not gonna fight. Yeah, fight me for it.
I'm not gonna fight you, but it's gonna be S. It ain't topping Infinity War. I will fight you on that.
I will concede that.
Because here's my argument.
I will concede that for the sake of the list.
Here's my argument to that. I think this movie tries to juggle way more balls in the air than Infinity War. It kind of bites off more than it can chew, and it's not successful in doing everything that it's trying to do the same way that Infinity War is successful in juggling all the different aspects of itself that it does. Like I think a lot of the order of the missions to go for the Infinity Stones, the order of that could have been done better. There was definitely some pacing issues when putting Hawkeye and Black Widow's mission at the very last, where you get all of it right at the very end. And I think they could have done a lot better instead of just finishing this mission first, then this mission first, and then this mission second and third. They could have just jumbled it around a little bit more, give more characters more time, pepper it out a little bit more. And that, I think, is where the movie struggles the most, is balancing the order and the pacing of all these different missions to collect the Infinity Stones.
This movie got me hook, line, and sinker. Go ahead, Ben.
I'm going to say this. From the moment they get back to the present and Hulk snaps, it's new gasm until the very end of the movie.
Yep.
And
but just like the original Avengers movie, there's a lot to get there that I don't think was handled as well as Infinity War.
Man, for me, hands down, my favorite opening night viewing of any movie I've ever seen.
I'm going to say this. Ever since he passed away, whenever Chadwick comes on the screen, it gets more and more emotional for me.
Ibombe!
Oh my
I was waiting
Because
for it,
I
but never mind.
love that. Imame.
Imame!
The
In my
moments
man.
in this on your left, don't worry, kid, we got this. I am Iron Man. You know, what do you want to eat, kid? Cheeseburgers. You know, your dad used to like cheeseburgers.
Oh.
The funeral, like
This is my favorite funeral. The one in Guardians is great. This is my favorite funeral in the MCU.
and the score part of the funeral is the best. I told my friends if they do not play this on my funeral, I will come back and haunt their ass.
And what makes you think they're going to die after you?
You never know.
We won. I wonder about, and I want you guys' opinion. Like King of Iron Man 3.
Made sense to me.
Yeah.
Makes sense, but for me, I would take him out and put in Stan Lee.
But see, it wouldn't have made much narrative sense because it has to be someone who would have known Tony Stark.
That's something that you see in comic books because it works in comic books because you can draw a crowd and you can hide them in there. But in a scene like this, I'm sorry, it wouldn't have worked.
Wouldn't have worked.
It would have taken me out of the movie.
But the things you were saying earlier, it kind of it proves my point for me. All those wonderful moments you were mentioning, they're all at the very end. Like the Battle of New York. There's a lot of lagging to get to that moment. As great as it is, arguably one of the best.
There's a lot of lagging. Like you get the introduction of Fat Thor, and his entire story arc is great. But
like the middle section, the mission going to get the stones, I think there's a lot of lagging in there, and that's what drops this movie from 100 to like a 99, 98, in my opinion.
No, not for me, man. Like to me, I'm the opposite. There is not a moment in this movie for me that lulls whatsoever. But that's just me, and like that it hits me differently than it does you.
I would say that it ends up touching up. I would do to some of those things, but the training trail stuff is amazing. The Thor 2 stuff. It made me appreciate the Dark World of them a little bit more. The Hawkeye and Black Widow stuff, amazing. The stuff with Tony and his dad, incredible.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, 50, but I mean more than
I'm not saying that all those moments aren't good. I just don't think they're spaced out between each other as well as a lot of the stuff in Infinity War is. Because in Infinity War, you spend a couple minutes over here, a couple minutes over there, a couple minutes over there, and it's much more balanced. In this movie, you get, 15 minutes on this side, 2 minutes on that side, then 20 minutes on that side, 5 minutes on that side. It's not quite as balanced for me.
That's why I said earlier when we got into Infinity War, Avengers Infinity War is the best movie. Not my favorite. I said it was the best movie. That is a statement I will stand by. It is the best made MCU movie. But for me, like everything paying off the way it was, it got me completely, like I said earlier, hook, line, and sinker. Like this.
Yeah, I mean, I understand there's a difference between the best and your favorite, but Infinity War, much like The Lion King, is both my favorite and what I consider to be the best.
Yeah, and so for the sake of this list, I will not argue putting Infinity War above Endgame for sure.
Okay, good. Okay, so what's next?
So next, we have what is my favorite Spider-Man movie, not named Spider-Verse, Spider-Man: Far From Home. I absolutely adore this movie. I love everything about it. I love the travel element. I love Ned and Betty's relationship. I love the teachers that are on the trip. I love all the shenanigans that Peter accidentally gets himself into. I love the concept of having to deal with trying to fill someone's shoes and having to deal with the death of someone very close to you. I think they knocked everything out of the park on this one. Like I said, personally, it is my favorite, not Spider-Man movie not named Spider-Verse?
I have to say, it's a good movie. I don't love it as much as you love it. I'm sorry.
No, I got a feeling this is not going to end up on S. I'm probably thinking it's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's like with Guardians, it's definitely a great movie, but a step down from the first one.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it takes out way too much than it could handle. But there are great moments in this movie, to me.
And there isn't any part of this movie that I consider to be bad or not done well. It's just Mysterio is my favorite Spider-Man villain of all time. And I don't know. I just don't think it quite lived up to my unreasonably high expectation.
That's a valid argument. I really liked what they did with Mysterio because they made it fantastical while grounding it in reality with the use of the drones. I really like that and how they brought in,
which really fits well with Mysterio's character.
Yeah, and how they brought in people that Tony Stark had screwed over the years.
But see, this kind of leads me to another argument that I constantly have with this friend of mine. He says what a lot of people are saying, that the MCU Spider-Man movies are just Iron Man spin-offs. And I could not disagree with that more.
Yeah.
Just like with the Captain America 3 argument, there are Spider-Man movies that just happen to feature a lot of Tony Stark isms, but in both Homecoming and this, it's about Peter realizing that he doesn't need to be Iron Man. He needs to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of the movie. And it's the same thing as my mom hating Logan because Wolverine was old and weak in that movie. Again, you're missing the point by saying that.
And this has one of the best mic drop moments where at the very end, J. Jonah Jameson, once again played by J.K. Simmons, plays a video where it is announced to the world that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Holy shit, nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, and just like Winter Soldier changed everything from the MCU, this movie changes everything for Spider-Man.
Agreed.
And here's a little underrated thing we're not even taking into consideration. Homecoming, in the Spider-Man movies do a lot of things for the first time for this character that we've never seen, at least not on screen. Homecoming was our first introduction to a Spider-Man a Spider-Man movie that exists in the same world as the Avengers, or rather other superheroes, I should say. Far From Home introduces us to the first time we ever see a Spider-Man movie where Aunt May knows he's Spider-Man and she's constantly helping him. No Way Home is going to introduce to us our first look at a Spider-Man movie where everyone knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And most importantly, everyone agrees with J. Jonah Jameson. Well, I'm assuming not everybody, but a lot of people would be on J. Jonah Jameson's side.
I just hope they make Kraven the Hunter the villain for this, because that is the perfect movie for him to be introduced in.
I agree. I agree for the context, but I'm not really a Kraven fan. I'm not a Kraven fan.
Well, okay, now I feel like we're going to get 2 movies in one, and for the first time, I'm kind of nervous about it. Because if we get Kraven, I would love a Spider-Man vs. Kraven movie. But we also have all this multiverse stuff going on.
True.
Yeah, that's the main reason that's why I don't think they are going to have Kraven in the movie.
I mean, for the first time, I see why people are worried about, because it could end up being 2 movies in one, and that's not always a good thing.
But if anything's taught us, if there's one thing that's taught us, that's the MCU's taught us, is in Feige we trust.
Yeah, if anyone can pull it off, it's Feige.
Yeah,
like going back to Doctor Who for a second. The episode Flesh and Blood. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if Matt you remember this, but it was the second part of the two-parter with the first Matt Smith episode with the Angels.
Oh, yes.
When, Amy was turning into the stone. No, Flesh and Stone. Sorry. Flesh and Stone. I mixed it up. But yeah, it simultaneously tried to be a Weeping Angels episode, but then the whole cracks in the skin of the universe storyline came into play, and it kind of took over the episode a little too much. That's what Ben is saying. Ben is talking about of just trying to do two things at once, and it's not really a great balance. That's what I hope Far From Home doesn't turn into. But like you said, if anyone can pull it off, it's Feige.
Yeah, it's Feige. Yeah. So now, speaking of something that is new, we have the very first Disney Plus show, WandaVision.
Wait, you didn't put Spider-Man.
Oh, that's right. Where do we want to put Spider-Man? I'm comfortable with it going A.
What do you have against the Ditko boys, Soda?
I don't know.
You did the same thing to Doctor Strange.
I'm sorry.
I want to say B.
I would say A.
Yeah, I think A as well. Like for if it was my list, it's S, but no, A I think is a good spot for it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, meet in the middle.
Yeah. So yes, now we get the first Disney Plus show, WandaVision.
WandaVision.
I'd give this an A.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I wouldn't say S, but A is fine. I love this show.
See, if we're going to do a mini ranking of the three MCU shows so far, I'd say WandaVision had better moments than both of them, but it also had a lot of low moments.
Yeah, that's why for me,
Loki had, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, Loki had more low moments than high moments. Falcon and Winter Soldier was the only one out of the three was consistent in its quality. It didn't raise too high. It didn't fell too low.
Yeah.
So I would, if you were doing a mini ranking, I would definitely put Falcon and Winter Soldier at the top, then WandaVision, then Loki. So
mine is the other way around. It's Loki, WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
For me, it's WandaVision, Loki, Falcon.
And that's not to say Falcon is bad. It's just I enjoy the other one more.
For me, I was a big sitcom guy growing up, and I thought the way they picked homage and what they did with sitcoms was amazing. So that person, for me,
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If it was just the sitcom stuff, this would have been an S tier for me. If it didn't have that extra storyline of it was all just taking place inside Wanda's mind, and the government is trying to break in and such, it would have been an S. But I mean, and I talked to Ben about this on the Hot Take. I believe we had an entire episode about it. I did not enjoy episode 4 where they had to reveal to everyone that, oh, don't worry, guys, this isn't how the show actually is. There's a secondary storyline taking place underneath. I did not like the finale. I mean, I liked the finale. I just felt like it wasn't a smooth landing. Like in my review on it on my channel, I compared it to the crash landing from Revenge of the Sith. So, like, when you try to stick the landing, sometimes everything goes smooth. The plane kind of straightens out at the right possible trajectory, pulls out the landing gear in time, lands softly on the ground, and slides to a stop. And sometimes you get something like the ending of this season when it's the spaceship crashing down into Coruscant at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, where it's burning up on re-entry. A piece of it is completely fallen apart. It crashes into the ground and just leaving a wake of destruction behind it, and until eventually it comes to a stop. But they did manage to land the ship, and then Obi-Wan is just saying, "Another happy landing." This was the ending of WandaVision, in my opinion. It wasn't a smooth landing, but they landed the ship nonetheless.
Yeah. So where do you guys put it?
A for me.
Soda?
I'd say A.
Okay, I would have said B, but I think A works well for me for all the good moments it had.
Yeah. I put it as low A.
Yeah, low was fine for me. The lowest.
So next up, we have the second of the Disney Plus series, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This was a cool series, and like you said, 50, the most consistent.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's an S, but I would definitely, like I said, put it above WandaVision.
Yeah, I put in the high A's as well.
Me too.
Yeah, maybe even mid A's.
Yeah, so right between Ant-Man and Doctor Strange.
Yeah. But do we want to talk about it first?
Yeah, sure. Of course, we get the introduction of basically the past of the Super Soldier Serum. We get introduced to the concept of Isaiah Bradley, who is a character from the comics, who also was the Black Captain America.
Black Captain.
I really liked that story.
I loved it.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's who doesn't love Carl Lumley,
right?
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's so great to have
John Jones's father in Supergirl.
And he's Martian Manhunter in the animated stuff.
That's right.
So yeah, to have the Martian Manhunter be a past Captain America, like what's not to love about it? Yeah. And also, I am probably on the minority on this, but I really liked John Walker.
Me too.
I loved him. Like I wasn't quite on board with him at first. He did a lot of questionable things in the beginning, but John Walker is my favorite new character that was introduced in the show. Not my favorite character on the show, but he's my favorite new character introduced into the show.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see where he goes, considering now that we know he's backed by Contessa. What's her full name?
Contessa Valentina something Julia Louis Drivers.
We'll just call her Veep. No, I'm excited to see where his character goes. For me, the best part of the series is the Sam Wilson story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the Bucky stuff was fine, but for me was the weaker. I think
it's Sam Wilson first, Bucky second, John Walker third.
Where would you put Zemo in there? Does he really have a story?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I want to see the Zemo spin-off of him trying to make it as a Captain Snow.
That's who he is in the multiverse. Wannabe dance star.
I mean, now that you mention it, I wouldn't mind seeing a Zemo spin-off of him trying, emphasis on trying, to escape the Dora Milaje.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see that as like a one-shot if they've ever brought those back.
Actually, could you do me a favor and put Doctor Strange right up next to Iron Man and Falcon Winter Soldier behind Ant-Man? Because the reason why I can't put it as high is because I just hated Carly Morgenthau. I hated her guts so much, and it's nothing against the actress. I also didn't quite enjoy Enfys Nest in Solo, which is basically the same character in a different universe. But that's whatever. True. It's nothing against the actress. I just didn't like the character, and I think I told you this off camera at one point. It was just the whole story with Namor, Battlestar. It was a little too close to home for me, personally.
Yeah, fair point. I never really thought.
As an Israeli man, I do not support terrorism for supposedly a just cause. I mean, I think when you try to justify terrorism, I'm sorry, there is no getting around it. Terrorism is terrorism, no matter how you try to slice it. And this is another argument that I had with this friend of mine. He doesn't think she's...
How are you still friends with this guy?
I have no idea. We've been friends for over 20 years, so it's kind of hard to break off a friendship like this. But it's like he says, oh, she's not a terrorist. She's a freedom fighter. I'm like, dude, you don't know the difference between a terrorist and a freedom fighter. Also because he didn't serve in the military, but that's a
I was
different
gonna
story
say,
altogether.
did he draft dodge?
No, for medical reasons, he didn't serve.
Lame.
But yeah, he didn't live with the experience. He didn't. I mean, I've been in a war zone. Okay, not quite a war zone, but I've been on the side of the John Walkers and the.
You know what you're talking about, basically.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about better than he does.
Yeah.
That's why I've been trying to justify John Walker, no matter how shady he got from me during the show.
No, I agree.
And also, one final point. I think it should have been John Walker to kill Carly, but I understand why it was Agent 13. My brain
Sharon
can't
Carter.
pull it. It's 6 in the
Sharon
morning. Sharon Carter. Yeah. My brain isn't working. I hope you're feeling good about yourself. This is around the same time we're going to have our Inner Geek the match against each other. So yeah, you're going up against this muffled brain at this hour.
And I suggest a lot of coffee and take a nap.
I don't drink coffee, but thanks.
Yeah, but how cool was it though when Sam Wilson showed up in the Falcon Captain America costume?
Falcon America.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. That's one I was like, I can't believe it translates so well to the screen as it does.
Yeah.
You have the figure?
Of course I do. But this is the comics version.
Still, it's practically they're really identical.
Yeah, well, if you put both of them against each other, you start to notice the differences, but you don't care because they both look awesome in their own way.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it right next to me because it's gonna take me a while to put it back on the shelf.
Yeah. Okay. So next up, we have as of this moment, the final Disney Plus show, Loki. This was another one that defied expectations. It was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Same. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I kind of struggled with the first couple of episodes. I wasn't a big fan of the TVA stuff, but as soon as it just became all about Loki and Sylvie, the more I liked it. And once it got into the other Loki variants and the ending of it, I liked it more. I do think it's definitely the weakest finale out of the three.
I agree on that. I do think
because for the most part, it was just Loki, Sylvie, and what we are led to believe is actually Kang sitting in a room together talking. And we already talked about how I didn't like that aspect in the first Avengers movie.
Yeah,
basically almost nothing happens until the end.
Yeah, well, in the other two, we had the final episode had some major holy shit moments. Loki didn't. It was very under the radar. I appreciated that about it, but it, again, I agree, was the weaker of the three finales.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, this show definitely prioritized character over major action scenes. But I mean, it's still a superhero show, and we're talking about multiverse and time travel shenanigans.
Which this sets up everything we're going to see in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, and I definitely think might be me just building up my expectations a little too early, but I definitely think I might enjoy season 2 of this better than the first season. And it hasn't even started production yet, but just because of what they were setting up at the end there.
So where do you guys want to put this?
Me,
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, there is no D in the MCU.
Yeah, except for unless you're Iron Man 3.
We just put Iron Man 3 there because we needed something to be in D, and that one just kind of fit the bill.
Okay, so now we're on to the final MCU property at the moment. The most recently released movie in theaters, which is where I got to see it, and I believe 50 got to see it as well.
Twice on my birthday.
Nice. Black Widow. Didn't know what to expect. Again, didn't know what to expect going into this, and it blew me to the point where it was flirting with being in my top 5.
wow.
I really liked this movie. I really, really liked it. I thought all 4 leads had great chemistry, but the chemistry between Natasha and Yelena was off the charts. Florence Pugh Like, I don't know how many times she has to keep proving this. Florence Pugh is the bomb.
I mean,
you're might gonna get upset at me for this, but I think this is a movie designed for B. Like it's
okay,
not
I
it's
I
not
do that.
it's not an S tier because it's not trying to be. If
Mhm.
that makes sense, it's not on the same scale as an Avengers movie because it doesn't want to be an Avengers movie. It just wants to be a smaller scale,
Yeah.
character focused Black Widow movie to set up the backstory of Natasha and to introduce Yelena and Red Guardian and her mom,
Yeah.
which Melina, I
Melania?
think.
Melena.
Melina,
yeah.
and also Taskmaster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
I'm fine with B.
yeah, I'm fine with B. Like
Yeah.
you can even put it right in the middle of B because it is what it is. It's a move. It's trying to be a middle movie that you enjoy.
What I enjoyed about this is it's a movie that you can watch without the context of the MCU because the credits
Yeah.
set it up, everything you need to know, and you can watch it as its own thing.
Yeah, like you said, the opening credits. You basically need all you need to do. And actually, watching it for the second time, for the first and second time, I kind of came up with an inner geekdom 5-pointer for this movie. Do you want to hear it?
Of course.
Okay. Which Middle Eastern world leader can be seen shaking hands with General Dreykov in the opening credits of Black Widow?
Gorbachev.
No.
I don't know.
I said Middle Eastern.
Oh, sorry. It's that Israeli president that you said was one of your favorite historical people.
I don't remember ever saying that about any Israeli president, but go ahead.
Oh shit! It was that old guy who looked like Yoda?
Oh, Ben Gurion?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was way before Dreykov.
I don't know.
I mean, he died in the 70s.
No, who was it?
Yasser Arafat. Yeah.
Who be the crowd around the time? Yeah.
I mean, I noticed him in the movie when first time I saw it. It took me seeing it for the second time to really formulate the question because he's the only one seeing shaking hands with Dreykov.
Oh,
like it would work well as a 5-pointer because of all the context clues. Middle Eastern world leader shaking hands, opening credits.
That's a pretty good 5-pointer.
It's got all the context clues. Like if you know people who write questions for the Schmodown, you gotta tell them about that.
That's actually a pretty good question. Credit to 50 Shades of Geek.
Yeah.
Okay. So now is the time for us to reveal our own personal list. So here's what we're going to do because I'm really curious about 50s. We're going to have him go last as the finale.
Okay.
So Ben, if you want to go first, then I'll go, and then we'll have 50.
Sure.
Start at the bottom. Start from 27, work your way to 1.
Well, I only have 24 new one.
Oh, because you didn't include the series. Yeah, okay.
I didn't include. Okay, 24. Dark Lord. 23. Iron Man 2. 22. Guardians Volume 2. 21. Iron Man 3. 20. Ultron. 19. Ant-Man 2. 18. Thor. 17. Iron Man. 16. The Incredible Hulk. 15. Captain America First Avenger. 14. Black Widow. 13. Black Panther. 12. Doctor Strange. 11. Ant-Man. 10. Captain Marvel. 9. Far From Home. 8. Guardians of the Galaxy. 7. Captain America Winter Soldier. 6. Homecoming. 5. Avengers. 4. Thor Ragnarok. 3. Infinity War. 2. Endgame. 1. Captain America, Civil War.
It's a pretty good list.
Great
There
list.
actually are a little bit of similarities in our list, to be honest. Okay,
Why Black Widow is that high for you?
what was Black Widow for you again, Ben?
12, wasn't it?
It's not bad.
It was
Right
14.
after Captain America for the first Avenger.
14.
Oh, 14.
Okay.
Oh, so it's right before First Avenger, which is 13. It's interesting that First Avenger is right at the middle for you.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys a list after the show.
Okay.
That do that. Yeah.
Okay. So my list is 24 is the Dark World, 23 Hulk, 22 Iron Man 2, 21 Avengers Age of Ultron, 20 Iron Man 3, 19 Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 18 Thor, 17 Captain Marvel, 16 Doctor Strange, 15 Iron Man, 14 Ant-Man and the Wasp, 13 Avengers, 12 Ant-Man and the Ant-Man, 11 Captain America, the first Avenger, 10 Black Widow, 9 Black Panther, 8 Thor Ragnarok, 7 Guardians of the Galaxy, 6 Homecoming, 5 Winter Soldier, 4 Spider-Man Far From Home, 3 Civil War, 2 Infinity War, and 1 Avengers Endgame.
It almost sounded like you were going for a 2 Infinity War and Beyond.
I wanted to put Infinity War and Endgame as 1, but I was like, no.
No, you didn't. 2 Infinity. Yeah.
I get it. No, I get it now. It's getting late for all of us.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this
That's
up.
getting early for me.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. 50, take us home with your list.
Well, I didn't, for time constraints, I didn't have a list, so I said I was going to do it live. Looking at this list, obviously, like I said, I have my bottom 3, which is 27, Iron Man 3.
Yep.
20. I can't count at this hour, so I'm just going to go Iron Man 3,
26.
Iron Man 3, Thor, Avengers. It's definitely at the top high of my bottom 3. Then Loki, Incredible Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Black Widow, Iron Man 2, WandaVision, Far From Home. What number is the next one?
I stopped counting. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Far From Home, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Ant-Man and the Wasp, wait, I was looking at the list.
You're using this list. Sorry.
Yeah. So Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Here, hold on. How's that?
Captain Marvel. No, Captain Marvel, then Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Here we go.
Iron Man. Oh wait! Oh shit! I'm not in the right mindset for this. Hold on. Let me start over. That's why I never did a list of myself, because I can't rank these things. Okay, so let's go. Iron Man 3, Thor, Avengers, Loki, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, WandaVision, Guardians 2, Far From Home, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Iron Man 1, the Captain America, the Winter Soldier. We're getting into the higher ones.
Yeah, that was number 10.
And I said Iron Man 2 already, right? Didn't I?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so now number 10. Okay, so top 10. I would put. This is so hard. Okay, so top 10. Age of Ultron. It pains me to do this, but top 10: Age of Ultron, Ragnarok, Homecoming, Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Am I at my top 5 now?
Yeah.
So this is number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number 5. Sorry to do this, but first Avenger,
Well,
Guardians 1. No, wait. So yeah, top 5, Endgame, then first Avenger, Guardians 1, Civil War, Black Panther, Infinity War.
It's a pretty good list.
yep, really good.
I do agree. It was really hard to rank them because I love them.
uh,
I love all the movies.
I never would have thought I'd put Black Panther at number 2, but apparently I did. Like,
Wow.
have you ever seen when they did honest trailers for Pacific Rim 2 and Tomb Raider at the same time?
I did not know.
They said, well, these movies are both kind of average, so let's just put them both into the same one. And they made a joke about it in the honest trailer of like, come on, who are you kidding? We both know that you didn't see these movies and you went to see Black Panther again for the billionth time.
Nice.
I actually, when I went to see both movies, I saw them both to review them on my channel, obviously, but I went to see them and immediately got out and bought a ticket to Black Panther.
Nice. I actually like
think,
the Tomb Raider movie.
I think Black Panther is the movie I saw the most times in theaters after Infinity War.
Oh, wow.
Well, how many times?
I saw it 5 and Infinity War was 6.
Wow. Yeah, I saw Superman
Infinity War
Returns.
is actually the movie I've seen in theaters the most.
For me, it was Superman Returns at 6, but that was a whole
Not
different
even the new Lion King I saw 6 times in theaters.
Wow.
And also, I mean, like I said, Black Panther is the most Lion King-esque movie of the MCU. Complete with, killing the father and getting revenge on the person who did it and all that. Now, obviously, in the comics, it was Claw that killed his father, not Zemo, but
yeah,
you get the idea.
Yeah, but it works. It works for this. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. This has been a very long but good episode. Some great discussion. I always love talking the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's one of the best franchises out there.
Yeah,
and I'm still upset that they didn't get an honorary Oscar because, hey, if Return of the King can get an Oscar for an accomplishment, so could fucking Endgame. But that's just me.
I think an honorary Oscar should go for just the entire MCU.
Yeah, to Kevin Feige for the whole MCU, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if Kathleen Kennedy got her honorary Oscar, well deserved, if I might add. Kevin Feige,
he'll get his Thalberg Award for sure. But I'm talking a special Oscar for the cinematic achievement that is the MCU.
Yeah,
no, he's gonna get his Thalberg.
Cinema, not just superhero movies.
No,
the face of cinema.
It really, really did, to the point where freaking Black Panther was the first comic book movie to be nominated for Best Picture. Like, yeah.
I think it was definitely well deserved that it was nominated. I don't think it should.
I agree. I do agree on that. So yeah, everybody, if you want to give us your list in the comments or on YouTube, Twitter, feel free to go ahead and do that. I'm always curious to hear where things land for other people. And on that note, 50, where could everybody find you?
Sleeping. You can find me on my YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. You can also find me sometimes when I have time to do it on Twitch, 50 Shades of Geek. I'm currently playing the Lego Harry Potter games in preparation for a Lego Harry Potter trivia match on the John Roca Patreon tomorrow. It was originally supposed to be against Aisha Kenya, but she's kind of been MIA for a while now, so it looks like it might become a triple threat match, which is almost as exciting. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch. Eventually, I'm going to put all the live streams that I did on Twitch as separate mini episodes on my second channel, the 50 Shades of Gaming. You can also find me, like I said, on the John Roca Patreon facing off against Aisha Kenya. You can also find me battling my good friend Soda here in an Inner Geekdom match next week, as well as a Doctor Who trivia match against Canada Rocks himself, Raiko. I was also recently on...
And I will be writing and announcing.
Yeah, that's great. And I was also recently on Mark Riley's Patreon in a Inner Geekdom style free-for-all called King of the Mountain. Go ahead and see how well I did there. And you can also find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Pokemon Star Cross and Crescent. Where is my mask? I'm designing a Pokemon fan game based on Israel, the country where I live in.
Right on. Yeah, definitely check it out. There's some really beautiful things going on over there.
And also you can find me in the next couple of in about a month or so. I was recently interviewed for an Israeli YouTube channel about the game.
Cool.
Yeah, nice.
We sat for like 2 hours just talking about random facts about the game. I showed off a bunch of Pokemon. So yeah, go ahead and it's in about a month. And it's... I don't think we have any Israeli audience here, but you never know.
Well, I'm sure we can find a way to translate it for those of us who unfortunately don't speak Israeli. But I can't wait to check that out.
Israeli is not a language, but thank you.
Ben, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Ben_Radio on Twitter. Every Tuesday right here on Shooting the Breeze. Every Friday on Recapping the Past. Every Saturday on Get Ready Release Guys. Also on Saturday, Mount Showdown. There's Showdown show where we're going to players and careers. This summer we're going into factions. This week we're going into the suspects. That's going to be interesting. Matt, your turn, my man.
So you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can also find me in all the shows that Ben has mentioned here as well. You can also find me Friday nights on Schmodown 90 Canada, where we break down the events of what's happening in the week of Schmodown, as well as the Sunday edition. You can also find me producing on Saturday nights Let's Talk About Star Wars, which is a great show. 50 has been on a couple times. Ben has been on. It's always a lot of fun. This week we're doing the second edition of our Star Wars Alien or Not game, so definitely check that out. The winner of this one and the winner of the next one will be facing the previous winner, 50 Shades of Geek, in a champions match of sort. So that'll be fun. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you next time on this show, Shooting the Breeze. And don't forget, everyone, stay sweaty.